The highest level of eating is not about deliberate self-discipline, but about the natural operation of the system. Now, actually, just stop and think about that for a second. I mean, how often do we rely on sheer willpower to stick to some crazy nutritional plan only to eventually burn out and totally fail? Well, the author of the fascinating framework we're diving into today argues that optimizing your diet shouldn't be a grueling test of your mental endurance. Instead, it's really about designing a self-running, automated system.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're breaking down a highly engineered, systems-based approach to nutrition created by Lin Kangyan. Specifically, we're going to look closely at the CYSM health subsystem and its two plant-based legume and sweet potato porridges. And I have to tell you, this is definitely not your typical weekend recipe guide. This is all about treating human nutrition as a strictly verifiable engineering project.
Okay, so here's our blueprint for today. We've got 1. Designing a health subsystem, 2. Engineering complete plant proteins, 3. Protocol 1 metabolic balance, 4. Protocol 2 complete protein, and finally 5. Operations and matrix integration.
Let's jump right in. Section 1. Designing a health subsystem operating under constraints. So let's explore the rigid constraints that force the creation of this very specific protocol in the very first place.
You know the old saying, necessity is the mother of invention? Well, it's absolutely true here. The author didn't just design a meal plan for fun. They engineered a precise solution to a very strict set of real-world problems. First off, this entire system had to be sustainable on an ultra-low budget of just 667 Singapore dollars per month. That literally leaves zero room for error. But even more critically, it had to counteract the metabolic side effects of long-term use of a medication called risperidone at a 1 milligram dose, all while simultaneously meeting specific nutritional requirements for a glaucoma condition. So yeah, the stakes were incredibly high.
The Lifetime Wellness Project framework perfectly illustrates this mindset. The author approaches food as a verifiable engineering project rather than just, a series of random daily experiential choices. It's really all about strict inputs, predictable outputs, and basically maintaining long-term stability within a biological machine.
Moving right along. Section 2. Engineering complete plant proteins. The core mechanics. Let's look at the fundamental science making this ultra-low-cost, plant-based system work without relying on any animal products whatsoever.
So the absolutely crucial point here is a biological concept called amino acid complementarity. When you aren't eating meat or dairy, getting a complete protein, which just means getting all the essential amino acids your body can't produce on its own, well, it can be kind of trippy. But by combining specific plant sources, it's like a giant biological puzzle. For example, legumes are typically high in lysine but low in methionine. If you pair them with grains or seeds that have the exact opposite profile, you create this amazing biological lock and key effect. It's basically a biological code that delivers a complete protein profile for a fraction of the cost.
Section 3. Protocol 1. Metabolic balance. Now let's look at the first specific module of this system, an advanced dinner explicitly designed to counteract those medication side effects and provide a really solid baseline of weekly nutrition.
What's super fascinating here is that we can view each ingredient not just as food, but as a functional input. Mung beans act as this detoxifying base. Purple sweet potatoes provide resistant starch, which is amazing for keeping your blood sugar stable, and anthocyanins for eye health. And remember that glaucoma constraint we talked about earlier? That hits the nail on the head. Then chia seed powder delivers essential omega-3s, and nutritional yeast rounds the whole thing out with crucial B vitamins. Every single item has a highly defined structural job to do.
But executing this biological code requires a very specific operational sequence. You soak the mung beans and millet for exactly 30 minutes, you boil them, steam the sweet potato and corn, and then blanch the Ceylon greens. But look at step 5. This is paramount. You absolutely must let the mixture cool down to 50 or 60 degrees Celsius before you even think about adding the chia seed powder, yeast, and oil. Why? Well, because high heat will just completely destroy those delicate omega-3s and B vitamins. It's strict, non-negotiable thermal management.
Section 4. Protocol 2. Complete protein. Let's shift gears to the second module. Here, the output metrics move away from metabolic detox and focus entirely on achieving a perfect plant-based protein score and ensuring really smooth digestion.
In the second formula, the inputs change completely. We bring in chickpeas, which provide the crucial lysine. And to achieve that amino acid complementarity, fresh corn is added to supply the methionine. Red beans bring in massive amounts of fiber and iron, and the nutritional yeast is added at the end to perfectly close out the protein profile. It's just a mathematically precise combination.
Now, because the system inputs changed, the operational parameters have to shift as well. Chickpeas and red beans are way denser than mung beans. Therefore, the pre-soaking requirement jumps to over 3 hours. And this isn't just to soften them up, it's a vital chemical step to strip away phytic acid, which can actually block nutrient absorption. I mean, nobody wants to engineer a perfect meal only to fail at the absorption stage, right? So the boiling time increases to 50 minutes, and the water ratio is bumped up to 1,200 milliliters. And once again, that strict thermal cooling before adding the sensitive fats and yeast, still totally non-negotiable.
These deliberate variations really show the genius of the system. Protocol 1 leans heavily on mung beans and purple sweet potatoes for metabolic stability and high protein. Protocol 2 swaps those out entirely for chickpeas, red beans, and regular sweet potatoes to achieve maximum protein completeness. They are two distinct tools designed for two slightly different jobs within the exact same physical body. Section 5. Operations and Matrix Integration. Finally, let's explore the operating manual itself. How do these two advanced dinners actually integrate into the broader day-to-day architecture of a real person's life?
The CYSM porridge matrix builds all of this out into a highly structured protocol. Every single row represents a foundational protein base, and every column is a critical nutrient node: leafy greens, seeds and nuts, fruits, and nutritional yeast. It completely eliminates the daily exhausting cognitive load of "what on earth should I eat today?" by replacing the whole shebang with a simple, modular checklist.
To keep this biological system running without crashing, you really have to follow the operational principles. We already talked about the extreme temperature control required to protect the nutrients, but the author also dictates that greens must be purchased and cooked on the exact same day for absolute maximum freshness. Legume soaking times must be strictly adhered to. And importantly, and a lot of people overlook this, because this diet is incredibly high in fiber, thorough mechanical chewing is practically a requirement to aid digestion. You are quite literally the initial processing plant for this fuel.
So what's the frequency of this whole system? The author's recommendation is actually super balanced. Execute Protocol 1 just once per week, and Protocol 2 once per week as your advanced dinners. By rotating these specific protocols, the user maintains metabolic stability, protects their budget, and completely avoids that awful diet fatigue that comes from eating the exact same thing day in and day out.
The CYSM diet is neither an Eastern nor a Western diet. It is a life system recipe. I love this. It perfectly captures the essence of what we've been looking at today. This is so much more than just a cookbook or some fleeting dietary trend that'll be gone by next year. It is a meticulously engineered life system, built from the ground up to operate in accordance with natural rhythms, real-world constraints, and absolute biological facts.
So, as we wrap up this explainer, I want you to ask yourself this. If your daily diet was treated like a strictly engineered system, what constraints would you have to design around? And more importantly, what specific health outputs would it be designed to optimize? Take a page from the CYSM protocol, stop relying on sheer willpower, and start designing your system. Thanks for learning with us today.